Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundlesssuccess to join today. Let's get you to the next level. We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth. An anti-Semitic terror attack in Colorado. Ukraine delivers a devastating blow to Russia. Another court win for the Trump administration, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Ukrainian forces destroyed dozens of Russian warplanes with a drone attack on air bases deep within Russian territory on Sunday. Ukrainian forces destroyed 40 aircraft in the attack, which an official says took more than a year to orchestrate. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the attack on Sunday, saying it struck 5 airfields. The operation saw drones transported in containers carried by trucks deep into Russian territory, he said. The drones reportedly hit 41 planes stationed at several airfields on Sunday afternoon, including A-50, Tu-95, and Tu-22M aircraft, the official said. Moscow has previously used the Tu-95 and Tu-22 long-range bombers to launch missiles at Ukraine, while A-50s are used to coordinate targets and detect air defenses and guided missiles. An Egyptian national who came into the U.S. 2 years ago and overstayed his visa has been charged in the gruesome terror attack that left 8 people injured in Boulder, Colorado Sunday, authorities said. Mohammed Sabri Soliman was arrested at the scene after he set his victims on fire as they peacefully rallied on behalf of Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza. Soliman was heard yelling "Free Palestine" and other anti-Israel slogans during the attack on victims ranging in age from 52 to 88. Online records show Solomon has been booked into the Boulder County Jail on multiple felony charges, including 1 count of explosives or incendiary devices used during a felony and 2 counts of first-degree murder. The circumstances surrounding the murder charges are unclear since authorities have not announced whether any of the victims have succumbed to their injuries. Soliman is being held on a $10 million bond. The attacks unfolded at 1:26 p.m. local time when Boulder police were called to the county courthouse on Pearl Street for reports of a man who had a weapon and was setting people on fire, according to Boulder Police Chief Steve Redfear. Iran has sharply increased its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, enough for about 10 nuclear weapons, marking a 50% rise since February, according to a new International Atomic Energy Agency report. Despite ongoing talks with the U.S., Iran has refused to cooperate with probes into undeclared nuclear activity, raising alarms about potential treaty violations. European nations are weighing renewed UN sanctions, while Iran has threatened to withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty. President Trump on Friday said that China has totally violated its preliminary trade agreement with the United States and suggested he would take action in response. So much for being Mr. Nice Guy, Trump wrote in a social media post that said China had reneged on a deal that paused retaliatory tariffs between that country and the U.S. Stock futures fell Friday morning on the heels of Trump's statement. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, in a CNBC interview Friday morning, echoed Trump's allegations, saying, "We're very concerned with China's purported non-compliance with the temporary trade deal. The United States did exactly what it was supposed to do, and the Chinese are slow-rolling their compliance," said Greer. He called that completely unacceptable and has to be addressed. President Trump announced Friday his administration would be doubling tariffs on steel imports from 25% to 50% during a visit to Pennsylvania focused on boosting the U.S. steel industry. "We're going to bring it from 25 to 50% on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States," Trump said during remarks at a steel factory in Pittsburgh. The president's announcement came as part of an event to tout what Trump called a blockbuster agreement between U.S. Steel and Japanese-owned Nippon Steel. "We're here today to celebrate a blockbuster agreement that will ensure this storied American company stays an American company," Trump said in remarks from the factory in Allegheny County. "We're going to have a great partner, and I have to tell you, Japan has been a tremendous friend of mine during my years as president." Trump has, in the early months of his second term, emphasized a push to bring back domestic manufacturing and jobs, largely through the aggressive use of tariffs. The Supreme Court ruled Friday that President Trump can end the protected status of around 500,000 illegal immigrants from 4 nations while an appeal of the president's order remains pending. The migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela were allowed into the U.S. as a result of a parole program set up by the Biden administration. Trump revoked that program, but a lower court had blocked his order until Friday's ruling. Justices Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor, 2 of the court's 3 liberal justices, dissented from the court's decision, but the 3rd, Justice Elena Kagan, joined with the majority. The ruling comes 2 weeks after the court also allowed the administration to revoke the status of nearly 350,000 Venezuelans. PBS and a Minnesota member station filed a lawsuit asking the court to find that President Trump's executive order cutting off federal funds for the broadcaster was unlawful. PBS's complaint alleges that the order directing the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to stop funding it and NPR amounted to blatant viewpoint discrimination that runs afoul of the Constitution and the law governing public television. The lawsuit comes days after NPR lodged a similar lawsuit. It's a great week to be a sports fan, with several championships on the line. On Wednesday, the NHL's Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers face off in a repeat of last year's Stanley Cup final. On Thursday, the NBA Finals tip off, pitting the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Indiana Pacers. The French Open Women's Final is on Saturday, followed by the men's on Sunday. In horse racing, Sunday's Belmont Stakes is expected to feature both Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner, and Journalism, who won the Preakness Stakes. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.